Good evening, I am John Lloyd Canada and I am going to recite the Rule 130 Section 10 to Section 36. Section 10. Evidence of written agreements. When the term of an agreement have been reduced to writing, it is considered as containing all the terms agreed upon, and there can be, as between the parties and their successors in interest, no evidence of such term other than the contents of the written agreement. However, a party may present the evidence to modify or explain or add the terms of the written agreement if he or she puts in issue in a verified pleading. A. An extrinsic ambiguity, mistake, or imperfection in written agreements. B. Failure of a written agreement to express the true intent and agreement of parties thereto. C. The validity of the written agreement, or D. The existence of other terms agreed by the parties or their successors in interest after the execution of the written agreement. The term agreement includes wills. Number 4, interpretation of documents. Section 11. Interpretation of a writing according to its legal meaning. The language of a writing is to be interpreted according to the legal meaning it bears in the place of its execution, unless the parties indeed otherwise. Section 12. Instrument construed so as to give effect to all provisions. In the construction of an instrument where the several provision or particular such construction is, if possible, to be adopted as will give effect to all. Section 13. Interpretation according to intention. General and particular provision in the construction of the instrument. The intention of the parties is to be pursued. And when a general and particular provision are consistent, the latter is paramount to the former. So a particular intent will control a general one that is inconsistent with it. Section 14. Interpretation according to circumstances. For a proper construction of an instrument, the circumstances under which it was made, including the situation of the subject thereof and of the parties to it, may be shown, so that the judge may be placed in the position of those who language he or she is to interpret. Section 15. Peculiar signification of terms. The terms of a writing are presumed to have been used in their primary and general acceptation, but evidence is admissible to show that they have local techniques and otherwise peculiar significance and were is used to understood in the particular instances, in which case the agreement must be construed accordingly. Section 16. Written words and control printed. When an instrument consists of partly or written words and partly of the printed form, and the two are inconsistent, the former controls the latter. Section 17. Expert and interpreters to be used in explaining the certain writings. When the characters in the which the instrument is written, the in is the written are difficult to be deciphered, or the language is not understood by the court, the evidence of a person skilled in deciphering the characters or who understand the language is admissible to declare the characters of the meaning of the language. Section 10. Of two constructions, which is preferred. when the terms of an agreement have been intended to in in a different sense by different parties to it. That sense is to prevail against either party or in which he or she suppose the other understood it. And when different constructions of provisions are otherwise equally proper, the that is to be taken which is the most favorable to the party in whose the favors of the provision was made. Section 19. Construction in favor of natural right. When an instrument is equally susceptible of two interpretation, one in favor of natural right is the other against it, the former is to be adopted. Section 20. Interpretation according to usage. An instrument may be construed according to usage in order to determine its true character. C. Testimonial evidence. Qualification of witness. Section 21. Witness. The qualification. All person who can perceive in perceiving and can make known of their perception to others may be a witness. Religious or political belief, interest in outcome of the case of conviction of a crime, unless otherwise provided by the law, shall not be a ground for disqualification. Section 21. Disqualification by reason of mental incapacity or immunity. It is deleted. Section 22. Testimony confined to personal knowledge, which a witness can testify only to those facts which he or she knows of his or her personal knowledge, that is, which derive from his or her own perception. Section 23. Disqualification by reason of marriage. During their marriage, the husband or the wife cannot testify against each other without the consent of the affected spouse, except in civil cases by one against the other, or in the criminal case for a crime committed by one against the other or the latter's direct ascendants or descendants. Section 24. Disqualification by reason of privileged communication. The following person cannot testify as to matters learned in confidence of the following case. A. A husband or the wife during after the marriage cannot be examined without the consent of the other as to any communication received in confidence by one from the other during the marriage, except in civil cases by one against the other, or in criminal case for a crime committed by one against the other or the latter's direct descendants or ascendants. B. An attorney or a person reasonably believed by the client to be licensed to engage in practice of law cannot, without the consent of the client, be examined as to any communication made by the client to him or her, or his or her advice given thereon in the course of or with the view to professional employment, nor can attorney, secretary, stenographer, or clerk or other person assisting the attorney be examined without the consent of the client and his or her employer concerning any fact knowledge of which has been acquired in such capacity, except in the following cases. Number 1. Furtherance of the crime or fraud, if the service or advice of the lawyer were sought to be obtained to be enable or aid anyone to commit the plan to commit what the client knew or reasonably should have known to be the crime or fraud. Number 2, claimants to the same deceased client as to communication relevant to an issue between parties who claims through the same deceased client, regardless or whether the claims are be testate or intestate or by inter vivos transaction. Breach of duty by lawyer or client. As to communication relevant to the issue, the breach of duty by the lawyer or to his or her client or by the client or his or her lawyer. Number 4, document attested by lawyer. As to communication relevant to an issue concerning an attested document to which the lawyer is an attesting witness. Number 5, joint clients. As to communication relevant to the matter of a common interest between two or more clients if communication was made by any of them to a lawyer retained or consulted in a common when offered in a action between any of the clients unless they have expressly agreed otherwise. C. A physician, psychotherapist, or person reasonably believed by the patient to be an authorized or practice medicine or psychotherapist cannot in a civil case without the consent of the patient be examined to any confidential communication made for the purpose of diagnosis or treatment of the patient physical, mental, or emotional condition including alcohol or drug addiction between the parties in patient and his or her physician psychotherapist. This privilege also applies to persons including members of the patient's family who have been participated in diagnosis or treatment of the patient under the direction of the physician or psychotherapist. A psychotherapist is a person licensed in practice of medicine engaged in diagnosis, treatment of a mental and emotional condition. A person licensed as psychologist is a government while similarly engaged. D. A minister, priest, or a person reasonably believed to be so cannot without the consent of the affected person be examined as to any communication or confession made or any advice given to him by her or in his or her professional character in the course of discipline enjoyed by the church to which the minister or priest belong. E. A public officer cannot be examined during or after his tenure as to communication made to him or her in his official competence when the court finds that public interest would suffer by disclosure. The communication shall remain privileged even in the hands of the third person who may have been obtained the information, provided that the original parties to the communication took reasonable precaution to protect its confidentiality. Number 2, testimonial privilege. Section 25. Parental and filial privilege. No person shall be compelled to testify against his or her parents, other direct ascendants, children, or other direct descendants, except when such testimony is indispensable in a crime against a person or by the one parent against the other. Section 26. Privilege relating to trade secrets. A person cannot be compelled to testify about any trade secret unless the non-disclosure will conceal a fraud or otherwise work injustice. When the disclosure is directed, the court shall take such protective measure as to interest of the owner of the trade secret and of the parties and furtherance of justice may require. Number 3, admission of confession. Section 27, admission of a party. The act of the act, declaration or omission of a party as to a relevant fact may be given in evidence against him or her. Section Section 28. An offer of compromise not admissible. In civil case, an offer of compromise is not admission of any liability and not admissible in evidence against the offerer. Neither the evidence of conduct nor statement made compromise negotiation admissible except evidence otherwise discoverable or offered for another purpose, such as proving bias or prejudice or of a witness, negativing a contention of undue delay, or proving an effort to obstruct a criminal investigation or prosecution. In criminal cases, except those involving quasi-offenses or criminal negligence or those allowed by the law to be compromised, an offer compromise may be received in evidence as implied admission of guilt. A plea of guilty later withdrawn or an unaccepted offer of a plea guilty to a lesser offense is not admissible in evidence against the accused who made the plea of offer. Neither the statement made in the course of plea bargaining with the prosecution, which does not result in plea of guilty, or which result in plea of guilty later withdrawn admissible. An offer to pay or the payment of medical, hospital or other expenses occasioned by an injury is admissible in evidence as part of civil or criminal liability of injury. Section 29. Admission of third party. The rights of party cannot be prejudiced by an act, declaration or omission of other except as hereinafter provided. Section 30. Admission by co-partner or agent. An act or declaration of a partner or agent authorized by party to make a statement concerning the subject or within the scope of his or her authority and during the existence of the partnership or agency may be given in evidence against such party after partnership or agency is shown by the evidence in other than such act or declaration. The same rule applies to act or declaration of joint owner, joint debitor, or other person jointly interested in the party. Section 31. Admission by conspirator. The act of declaration of conspirator in furtherance of a conspiracy during its existence may be given in evidence against the co-conspirator after the conspiracy is shown by evidence other than such act of declaration. Section 32. An admission by previes, where one derives a title to property from other, the latter's act, declaration, or omission in relation to the property is evidence against the former if done while the latter was holding the title. Section 31. Admission by silence. An act or declaration made in the presence and within the hearing or observation of a party who does or says nothing when the act or declaration is such natural to call for action or comment if not true, and when when proper and possible for him or her to do so may be given in evidence against him or her. Section 34. Confession. The declaration of an accused acknowledging his or her guilt of the offenses charged or of any offenses necessarily included therein may be given in evidence against him or her. Number 4, previous conduct as evidence. Section 35, similar acts as evidence. Evidence that one did or did not do a certain thing at one time is not admissible to prove that he or she did or did not do the same or similar thing in other time, but it may be received as proof a specific intent or knowledge, identity, plan, system, scheme, habit, customs, or usage, and the like. Section 36, unacceptable offer. An offer of in writing to pay a particular sum of money or to deliver a written instrument or specific personal property is, if rejected without a valid cause, equivalent to actual production and tender of the money, instrument, or property. Thank you.